The head of Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, in a recent interview, brags about international numbers for Marvel Studios series, talking about how if you look at the charts, multiple Marvel series, from Moon Knight to Miss Marvel to even She-Hulk, dominate the competition. Now, I know what I'm about to say is hard to believe, but the world does not revolve around the United States of America. There is, in fact, a whole other part of the world that exists literally to the north and south of the United States, and literally on other continents where the population of the rest of the world dwarfs the United States. So when we talk about United States streaming numbers and we talk about the fact that, oh, Mandalorian did 3 million views for the first episode or whatever, according to Samba TV, that's a small fraction of what it actually does because they don't have all the data. Nobody does. On top of that, if we take that same approach and we look at international numbers that are like that, right? And we apply it to all the Marvel shows, like, for example, Miss Marvel. That show in Middle Eastern countries and Europe did almost 5 times the amount of views in the United States alone in its first week, especially in the Middle East and places like India, for example. It maintained high viewership throughout, never dropped off, and even after it picked up. She-Hulk did better in specific international territories. Moon Knight, for example, was huge in the Middle East. It was also huge in some Asian markets, so different approaches. And this was directly from Kevin Feige acknowledging this to Variety when they asked him. And he said in some locations, we are seeing that our Disney Plus shows in the MCU are doing 2 to 3 times more views than the competitors on other services that are releasing at the same time or near us. And he says that it's this type of approach that is really boosting Marvel's appeal, and that they see these numbers and they realize that they can track and deliver more content. And you know, it's not surprising because I hate the fact that everybody always fixates on just the United States numbers. Again, it's a small part of the world, not the biggest part of the world, and certainly not the biggest distributor of everything. And if you look at numbers, for example, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 most recently, right? It did good in the United States. International, way better. So what's that telling us? That the world is finding more appeal in some of these franchises than, well, here, right? So it does make sense. That's why they're localizing. That's why they have more of a broad approach. That's why they legitimately have all these different diverse shows and characters, because they know it literally works. It's just sad that none of these streaming services ever give us numbers, and they never will, but we can kind of just look at what they're saying and look at the reality of data usage and everything, and kind of look at a more clear picture, even though it's not the full picture.